Hey, and welcome to Animation Quips. Today we will be taking a look at smear frames. So, what exactly are smear frames? Well, basically they are this. And these. Ever pause the cartoon at a weird part where it looks like the character in one frame has like suddenly 5 eyes, or 10 arms with scribbly lines or something else between it? Well, you just paused in the middle of a smear frame. You see, the weird multiplied feature in smear frames are drawn to emphasize speed and motion, kind of like a blur or stretch effect, which will be making the movement appear more quick and dynamic. It actually makes such a huge difference. Let me show you. Here I animated a cat moving his head quickly from one side to the other. In the middle I added a smear frame. This is the frame. Yeah, no, it looks terrifying. But look at how it looks like when it plays. That looks like a super quick movement, right? I also made the exact same animation without a smear frame and added just a regular frame instead to show you the difference. And if you do a side-by-side comparison, as you can see, they do have the same speed, but because of the smear effect on the one at the bottom, it gives it the illusion that it's quicker. Just don't overdo it. Today we will be looking at a principle named anticipation. Humans and animals and any living creatures are not like robots. We don't move in straight linear ways. Before every action, there's always a little preparation. And that preparation is called anticipation. Wow, that rhymes. Basically, anticipation is the movement that happens before the main action. Think of it like a wind-up. For example, in baseball, before the guy is throwing the ball, he has to swing back to get the extra force before performing the actual throw. Today's example, it's a dog jumping towards the bone. You can see the dog bends down, getting ready and getting the force to jump before actually jumping. Here's a comparison of the dog with anticipation and without anticipation. You can see on the one without, he almost looks robotic because where did he suddenly get the force to jump? Does he have invisible wings? And even if he did, he would first have to anticipate those before actually flying up. So, even if it's something small you're animating, always do at least one frame of anticipation before your main course of action. It makes your animation look a lot more realistic and smooth. Today, we will be taking a look at the principle squash and stretch. We are leaving the completely realistic territory for a bit, since this principle is mostly applied in cartoony exaggerated movement. It's usually used together with the anticipation principle, which we have discussed in the last episode, aka the preparation stage. Before a big action, you squash the character in the opposite direction, then, during the action, you stretch them out. In this example, the cat gets scared of the spider he just saw. Squash as he tenses up, and stretch as he leaps up into the air. Suddenly, his fear feels way more dramatic. And as always, here's a comparison with and without squash and stretch. Be sure to keep the size of your character who you're squashing and stretching consistent and don't overdo it. Our topic for today, lip syncing. And yes, I gave Flopper a mouth just for this episode. Don't get used to it, it's going away after this. Anyways, lip syncing. So, the basics of lip syncing, your best reference is your own mouth. Just say different letters out loud and watch how your lips move to them. For example, O makes a round shape, L pushes the tongue up, F bites the lip a little, etc, etc. Here I made a little drawing of all the mouth shapes I would use to each letter of the English alphabet. You can already animate lip syncing like this, but here's a trick I use. I overshoot every mouth movement by at least one frame. This adds a little snap and makes the animation feel smoother. While animating though, you might have to listen to the sound you're lip syncing to multiple times to get it just right. Here's a quick example.
Hey, I'm talking over here, pal.
Also, if you want to overlap lip syncing with another animation that you're doing, just do that animation first without the mouth, and after that animate the mouth as you go to the audio. What we have on the menu today is easing. So you're driving a car home and there is a red light. When you brake, the car doesn't stop like this, right? It looks something more like this. And that is exactly what easing is, the gradual acceleration and deceleration. When something moves and wants to stop, it gets slower and slower and slower until stopping completely. And when they want to start, they start slow and catch up speed over time. That's how real life works. The most important thing in this principle is a spacing between the frames. A larger space means the character is faster, and the smaller space means they are slower. Today's example is a sea doggo. He swims on screen, looks at his surroundings, so he slows down for a bit, notices the fish, decides he wants to go there, so he accelerates to the fish until noticing that he's not allowed to go there, at which point he turns up the brakes and slows down until stopping completely. The best way to show the easing effect of this is with this red ball. Just look at the spacing between the frames and compare it to the speed of the seal. This is applied to every movement of characters, unless you're a robot. Today, we will be checking out overshooting. No, that's not what I meant by overshooting. Anyways, overshooting is when something moves slightly past its end pose before settling back into the end position. Without overshooting, movement feels stiff and robotic. With it, it looks natural, because in real life, things don't just freeze instantly. Characters, objects, or even camera moves can overshoot. It's all about adding that extra bit to make things feel more alive. Look at the hair in this example. The hair falls behind to the head movement, and due to that, it goes a bit past its end pose after the main movement is finished before the hair is also finished. And not just the hair, the girl herself is bouncing a bit lower than the end pose before completing the action. Here you can see a version with and without overshooting. On the one without, it looks like the hair is plastic or glued together. So I realize I've shown you quite a few animation principles in my past videos, but I never actually shown you my full animation workflow. Everyone has their own process, but today I'll walk you through mine. Maybe it's gonna work for you too. So let's go! Step 1. Storyboard. Here's where you roughly sketch out your shots. The camera angle, the movement, and the overall idea. You can even use arrows or motion lines to show how things will move. Step 2. Sketch, or animatic. Now turn that storyboard into a simple animatic. No smooth animation yet, just raw motion to get the timing right. Not gonna lie, this walk cycle gave me a really hard time, and in the end I had to use this reference. Stay loyal to your references, people! Seriously, that makes such a huge difference. Step 3. In-betweens. Between your keyframes of the animatic, start adding in-betweens to make everything smoother. While you're at it, clean up the sketch a bit too. Step 4. Line art. Once your animation looks good, trace over it with a clean line art. That's your final outline. Step 5. Color. Now the fun part. Color, shading, and background. Keep in mind if you want to move individual elements later, make sure they're all on separate layers. Step 6 is optional, editing. You could stop there, but I like to take it a step further in After Effects, add some shadows, move the background a bit, or throw in a dramatic effect at the end for extra life. And finally, add sound or music and boom, your animation is done. And it only took a couple of hours for 4 seconds of animation. Anyways, now just make like 300 more of it to get a full movie. If you have the patience, of course. Today, we're talking about 2 different ways to animate, pose to pose and straight ahead, and also how to combine the 2 to get epic results. So let's jump right in. So what is pose to pose? Pose to pose is when you draw the key poses of your animation first and then add the in-betweens to complete the animation. So you already know where the character ends up. For example, if you remember this dog animation, it has been done pose to pose. I started with the main poses and then I filled in everything in between. Straight ahead, on the other hand, is when you animate straight ahead. Wow. Would have never guessed. You animate forward frame by frame with no fixed plan. It's great for things with natural chaos, like water, fire, hair, or in this case, the dog's mouth animation that I animated straight ahead to the audio after I was finished with the pose-to-pose animation. Now let's combine both in another doggo animation, this one. First, make a quick storyboard so you know the overall action. Then ask yourself, what's solid and predictable, and what should feel loose and spontaneous? For my dog animation, the body is pose to pose, while the ears and tongue are straight ahead, and I'll show you how. So now, animate the dog's body, just the main poses, then add the in-betweens like so. Do not add the ears and tongue yet. After this is completed, animate the ears and tongue straight ahead so they feel floppy and dynamic, like this. Since I already know how the body moves, I can let the ears drag behind to the motion naturally. You do this as you go, so you can be creative with this. One final tip. Add 1 extra frame just for the straight ahead animations you made to make it more noticeable. And there you go, one very happy dog with bouncy ear and a floppy tongue. Honestly, I have no idea what this thing is and what the dog is chasing. Let me know in the comments what you think it's supposed to be, and I might change it. I just needed a reason for a dog to move like that. This afternoon, we're diving into secondary action. We all gotta multitask sometimes, right? Well, so do the bodies of our animated fellows. When we walk, for example, our legs aren't the only thing that move, or else we would look like that one SpongeBob walking episode. Our arms move along to our walking, so we gotta integrate that into any character animation. And if it's an animal, when they walk, their heads move a little bit. So basically, secondary action is the extra supporting movement that adds depth, clarity, and personality to the main action. But it's not just walk cycles that need it. For this example, we've got Flopper, secretly stealing a snack from his roommate, and walking away. The main action is him grabbing the snack. However, that doesn't empathize the situation as much. So we gotta add extras. Flopper lifts his paw and darts his eyes around, checking if anyone's watching. Through that movement, we understand he knows he's not supposed to do that. You little thief. With this, the viewer can see more clearly what he's trying to do and that he's trying not to get caught. And as he walks away, give it a final touch. He pauses, looks back one more time, and sneaks off screen like nothing happened. Smooth Flopper, very smooth. So here's a comparison with and without the secondary action. In the one without, it just looks like grab and go. The one with shows more emotion and story. Hope he gives that back though, that's not very nice of him. Be sure to follow for more animation quips.